In the pristine observation deck of the Meridian space station, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the quantum crystal experiment with growing unease. The crystalline structure floating in the containment field wasn't behaving according to any known scientific principles. After 6 months of joint research with the Meridians, humanity's most trusted alien allies, something felt fundamentally wrong. The crystal's latticework pulsed with an impossible energy signature, one she'd seen before in classified reports about missing human colonies. Sarah's hands trembled as she cross-referenced the data, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic displays surrounding her workstation. The Meridians had sworn those colonies had been lost to spatial anomalies. They'd even helped with the rescue operations. But the evidence floating before her told a different story. Quite fascinating, isn't it, Dr. Chen? The melodic voice of Chief Researcher Vic Sarah drifted across the laboratory. The tall, crystalline being moved with liquid grace, their translucent form refracting light in complex patterns. The crystal's resonance patterns are remarkably similar to human neural networks. Sarah forced herself to maintain a neutral expression. Indeed, though I'm curious about these particular frequency patterns, they seem familiar. Vic Sarah's crystalline form flickered briefly, a tell Sarah had learned to recognize as discomfort. Merely a coincidence, I'm sure. Perhaps we should focus on the primary experiment. But Sarah was already diving deeper into the data, her suspicions growing with each passing moment. The Meridians had been humanity's first alien contact, arriving with promises of technological advancement and peaceful cooperation. For 20 years, they guided humanity's expansion into the stars, always there with helpful advice and gentle warnings about the dangers of moving too quickly. Now she understood why. Hidden in the quantum crystal structure was proof that the Meridians had been systematically experimenting on human colonies, using them as test subjects to study humanity's unprecedented ability to adapt and evolve. The spatial anomalies had been carefully orchestrated cover-ups. Sarah's heart raced as she initiated an encrypted transmission to Earth Command, hiding it within routine data bursts. But before she could complete the transfer, the laboratory's lights shifted to a deep purple, a color she'd never seen in the station before. "I am truly sorry, Dr. Chen." Vic Sarah's voice had lost its melodic quality. "We had hoped to maintain this arrangement for several more decades. Humans are remarkably resilient test subjects, but your pattern recognition abilities are becoming problematic." The air around Sarah began to crystallize. She grabbed the quantum data core from her terminal, knowing she had seconds to act. Years of rock climbing had given her strong hands and a good head for heights, skills no one would expect a quantum physicist to possess. She leaped onto her workstation and kicked off hard, using the low gravity to her advantage. The crystallization field missed her by inches as she grabbed an overhead maintenance conduit. The Meridians had designed their station with their own crystalline forms in mind. They'd never considered how a human might use the exposed infrastructure. Security protocols initiated. The station's AI announced. All human personnel are requested to remain in place for emergency containment. Sarah pulled herself into the maintenance shaft as alarm crystals began resonating throughout the station. She could hear the confusion in the voices below as other human scientists were detained. The Meridians had revealed their true nature too soon, not realizing that humans had survived far worse betrayals throughout their history. As she crawled through the station's infrastructure, Sarah activated her neural implants emergency protocols. Like most human technology, it was a hybrid of Meridian crystals and human innovation. But unlike pure Meridian tech, humans had added their own redundancies and hidden functions. Emergency Protocol Alpha 7 initiated. The implant confirmed in her mind, broadcasting survival data to all human frequencies. The quantum data core contained more than just proof of Meridian experiments. It held the key to understanding their crystalline technology. Humanity had been carefully studying their allies while pretending to simply follow their guidance. Earth Command had never fully trusted the Meridians, maintaining secret research programs and hidden military installations despite the peace treaties. Sarah reached the emergency pod bay, just as the station's security forces detected her location. The pods were designed for Meridian use, but human engineers had been quietly modifying them during routine maintenance cycles. As crystalline security officers rounded the corner, their forms blazing with combat energy, Sarah was already sealing herself inside a pod. "You cannot escape, Dr. Chen." Sarah's voice resonated through the station. "The synchronization process has already begun. Soon, all human colonies will be converted into perfect research habitats." Sarah smiled grimly as the pod ejected into space. The Meridians were about to learn a harsh lesson about humanity. They weren't the first advanced civilization to underestimate humans, and they wouldn't be the last. As her pod accelerated away from the station, Sarah could see other pods launching, not all of them carrying humans. Some of the Meridian scientists had been secretly working with humans, recognizing the dangers of their society's obsession with perfection. The coming conflict would reshape the galaxy, but not in the way the Meridian leadership expected. The quantum data core pulsed in Sarah's hands, its crystals resonating with human neural patterns. The Meridians had sought to understand humanity's adaptive capabilities through experimentation. Instead, they'd given humans the keys to their own technological kingdom. Earth Command would receive her warning within hours. Operation Shattered Light would begin, a contingency plan decades in the making. The Meridians thought they were studying humanity. They were about to become a case study in human ingenuity and survival instead. As her pod entered FTL, Sarah began composing a message to her sister in Earth's defense forces. "The crystals are calling. It's time to show them how humans really fight." Admiral Maya Chen stared at the quantum data core her sister had smuggled from the Meridian station, her weathered face illuminated by its crystalline glow. The holographic war room deep beneath the Himalayan mountains hummed with activity as Earth's military leadership processed the implications of Sarah's discovery. "The Meridians have already begun their synchronization process," Maya announced, her voice cutting through the tension. 3 outer colonies have gone dark in the past 6 hours, but they've made a critical mistake. The assembled officers leaned forward as Maya manipulated the holographic display. Streams of data collected over 2 decades of supposed cooperation with the Meridians filled the air. "They think they understand us," she continued, a slight smile playing at her lips. "They've studied our biology, our technology, our apparent limitations, but they've never understood our history." The display shifted to show footage from the colonies that had gone dark. The Meridians' crystallization fields had spread rapidly, transforming human settlements into perfect research habitats, but the aliens had missed something crucial. Humanity has been preparing for betrayal since the day they arrived, Maya explained. "Every colony, every settlement, every piece of joint technology we've developed contains elements the Meridians never detected. We called it Project Echo." Commander James Rodriguez, head of Special Operations, stepped forward. His cybernetic eye whirred as it analyzed the data. "The colonists are exactly where they need to be," Maya confirmed. "When the crystallization fields hit, our people were ready. The Meridians think they're scanning millions of human neural patterns. Instead, they're scanning elaborate quantum echoes, recordings we've been preparing for years." The real colonists had evacuated to hidden bunkers deep underground, leaving behind sophisticated quantum duplicates of their neural patterns. The Meridians were so focused on studying human consciousness that they never considered humans might learn to replicate it. "But Echo is just the beginning," Maya continued. "While they're busy analyzing false data, Operation Shattered Light moves into Phase 2. Commander Rodriguez, James activated his own data stream, revealing a network of stealth ships and installations that had never appeared on any official record. "We call them ghost makers," he explained. "Ships built with a combination of reverse-engineered Meridian tech and human ingenuity. They don't just avoid detection. They actively feed false data to Meridian sensors." The display showed the ships in action, their hulls seeming to absorb and redirect the crystalline energy the Meridians used for everything from communication to combat. Years of studying their allies had taught humanity how to turn the aliens' greatest strengths into vulnerabilities. The Meridians believe their crystalline technology represents the peak of evolution, Maya said. They see our organic nature as primitive, something to be studied and ultimately transcended. They never understood that our greatest strength lies in our imperfection, our ability to adapt, to deceive, to fight dirty when we need to. Across the galaxy, human colonies continued to fall to the crystallization fields. The Meridians celebrated each victory, not realizing they were following a carefully laid trail. Every transformed colony added its processing power to what the aliens thought was a growing network of research data. In reality, they were building the infrastructure of their own defeat. "Initiate silent strike," Maya ordered. Throughout the room, officers began transmitting coded commands to their hidden forces. "Let's show them why humans write so many stories about ghosts." In the Meridians' crystalline cities, the first signs of trouble appeared as subtle glitches in their neural networks. Their perfect crystalline minds began experiencing something they'd never evolved to handle: echoes of human nightmares, carefully crafted by Earth's best psychologists and quantum programmers. The Meridians had spent years studying human consciousness, fascinated by its chaotic nature. Now that chaos was seeping into their own orderly thoughts, every human neural pattern they absorbed carried hidden corruptions, spreading through their network like a virus. Dr. Sarah Chen, now safely at the Lunar Defense Base, monitored the quantum feedback. "They wanted to understand human consciousness," she murmured. "Be careful what you wish for." The Ghostmaker ships slipped through Meridian defenses, their crews using the aliens' own crystalline technology against them. Human pilots, their minds linked to hybrid quantum systems, fought in ways the Meridians couldn't predict or counter. Maya watched as the first phase of Silent Strike unfolded. The Meridians had expected humanity to respond with direct force. Fleets of ships, waves of soldiers, desperate attempts to rescue their captured colonies. Instead, humanity had chosen to fight like water wearing away stone, like rust corrupting metal, like whispers in the dark. "Status report," she commanded. "Ghostmaker squadrons report successful infiltration of all primary targets." Janes responded. "The quantum echoes are spreading faster than the Meridians can isolate them. Their attempts to purge the corruption are actually accelerating its spread." Maya nodded, remembering childhood stories of her grandmother's resistance against digital authoritarianism. Humans had been fighting against systems of control since they first built them. The Meridians thought their crystalline technology was perfect. They were about to learn the power of imperfection. They wanted to study human adaptability. Maya said softly, "Let's give them a lesson they'll never forget." As Silent Strike continued, the Meridians began experiencing something entirely new to their species: doubt. Their perfect crystalline minds, engineered over millennia for clarity and purpose, found themselves questioning everything they thought they knew about humanity. They had thought themselves the teachers, guiding a primitive species toward enlightenment. Instead, they were about to become students in humanity's oldest subject: survival. Deep within the crystalline spires of the Meridian capital world, first speaker Ixtel felt something unprecedented: fear. The perfect geometric patterns of their consciousness, developed over millions of years of evolution, were fragmenting. Everywhere they looked, the impossible was happening. Shadows moved where no shadows should exist. Crystal formations that had stood for millennia began resonating with alien frequencies, and worst of all, the collected consciousness of the Meridian elite was experiencing something that had no translation in their language: dreams. The human contamination spreads. Ixtel communicated to the Emergency Council. Their neural patterns, they do not decay as predicted. They evolve. In Earth's Lunar Command Center, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the chaos unfold through quantum sensors. The Meridians' attempts to study human consciousness had given humanity the key to understanding the aliens' own mental architecture. Every crystalline node in their vast network had become a conduit for carefully crafted human experiences: fear, doubt, imagination. Phase 3 is ready, she reported to her sister. The Ghost Protocol can begin. Admiral Maya Chen nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic displays showing meridian systems across the galaxy. They thought they could contain human consciousness like data in a computer. Show them what consciousness really means. Sarah initiated the protocol she and her team had developed. Throughout meridian space, quantum processors began transmitting new patterns, not just recordings of human neural activity, but living, evolving streams of consciousness. The crystals that formed the backbone of meridian society had been designed to resonate with pure thought. Now they resonated with human dreams, human fears, human hopes. They're beautiful, aren't they? Sarah mused, watching the patterns spread. All those things the meridians thought were weaknesses, our emotions, our irregularities, our ability to imagine the impossible. They're about to become our greatest weapons. In meridian cities across 1,000 worlds, the crystalline beings began experiencing sensations their species had evolved beyond eons ago. The chaos of dreams invaded their ordered minds. Memories they had never formed felt real. The very architecture of their cities, designed to amplify and focus their collective consciousness, became a transmission network for human thought patterns. Commander James Rodriguez's Ghostmaker fleet moved through meridian space unopposed, their hybrid technology now perfectly attuned to the aliens' compromised sensors. The meridians are falling back to their core systems, he reported. They're trying to isolate themselves from the contamination. But isolation was impossible. The meridians had built their entire civilization on the principle of perfect synchronization. Their quantum communication networks, their shared consciousness, their very way of life required constant connection. Now that connection had become their greatest vulnerability. Their primary defense platforms are starting to crystallize in new patterns, Sarah observed. The quantum corruption is reaching their military infrastructure. The Meridians had never developed traditional weapons. Their crystalline technology could reshape matter at the quantum level, making conventional warfare obsolete. But that same technology required perfect control, perfect understanding of quantum states. The human consciousness patterns spreading through their networks introduced an element they couldn't control: chaos. Deep in the quantum networks, the Ghost Protocol continued its work. Every meridian attempt to study and contain human neural patterns provided more pathways for infection. The aliens had wanted to understand human adaptability. Now they were experiencing it firsthand. "We're detecting massive energy fluctuations in their core systems," James reported. "Their entire quantum network is destabilizing." Maya studied the tactical displays, watching as meridian ships began moving erratically. The crystalline beings had never experienced anything like this. Their perfect, ordered existence was being overwhelmed by the very things they had dismissed as primitive: emotion, intuition, imagination. "They're trying to shut down their quantum networks," Sarah said, monitoring the data streams. "But they can't. We're not just transmitting data anymore. We're transmitting ideas. And ideas, once planted, have a way of growing." The Meridians had believed their crystalline technology represented the peak of evolution. They had seen humanity's organic nature as a primitive state to be studied and eventually transcended. But they had never understood the true power of organic consciousness, its ability to grow, to change, to dream. In their cities of living crystal, the Meridians began to experience something else they had evolved beyond: hope. Not their version of hope, which was merely the statistical probability of desired outcomes. Real hope, human hope, the ability to believe in possibility despite all evidence to the contrary. "Their leadership structure is fragmenting," James announced. "Individual Meridians are beginning to act independently. They've lost consensus." Maya allowed herself a small smile. "They wanted to understand humanity. I'd say they're getting a very thorough education." The Ghost Protocol wasn't just a weapon, it was a transformation. The Meridians had sought to study human adaptability through sterile experimentation. Instead, they were experiencing it from within, their perfect crystalline minds forever changed by contact with human consciousness. Sarah watched as new patterns emerged in the quantum networks, patterns that were neither human nor Meridian, but something entirely new. They thought they were so far beyond us, she said softly. They never understood that evolution isn't about reaching perfection. It's about endless adaptation, endless change. The war wasn't over, but its nature had fundamentally shifted. The Meridians would never be the same, and humanity had proven once again that its greatest strength lay not in technology or weapons, but in its ability to change the rules of the game entirely. The quantum display in Earth's lunar command center showed a galaxy in chaos. Meridian systems pulsed with erratic energy as their perfect crystalline networks struggled against the invasion of human consciousness. But Admiral Maya Chen saw something else in the patterns: opportunity. Begin Phase 4, she ordered. Operation Prism Break. Across human space, hidden facilities activated. For 20 years, while the Meridians thought they were guiding humanity's technological development, humans have been quietly working on something revolutionary: organic quantum crystals. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the central laboratory of the lunar base, surrounded by tanks of swirling, iridescent fluid. Inside, crystals grew not through perfect atomic arrangement, but through controlled organic chaos, living crystalline structures that merged human biology with quantum physics. The Meridians thought we were trying to copy their technology, she explained to the assembled military leadership. They never imagined we were evolving it. The organic quantum crystals pulsed with their own inner light, each one a hybrid of human neural patterns and crystalline quantum states. They were imperfect, irregular, and more powerful than anything the Meridians had created in their millions of years of evolution. Commander James Rodriguez's voice came through the quantum comm. Ghostmaker Fleet's report ready. The Meridians are still reeling from the Ghost Protocol. Their defenses are fragmented. Maya nodded, watching as status indicators showed humanity's hidden forces moving into position. They thought their crystalline technology was the end point of evolution. Show them what real evolution looks like. In space, the Ghostmaker ships began to change. The organic quantum crystals integrated into their hulls awakened, responding to their crew's neural patterns. The ships didn't just avoid detection anymore. They actively manipulated quantum states around them, bending reality in ways the Meridians had never conceived. On the Meridian capital world, First Speaker Ixtel felt the change ripple through their compromised quantum networks. The human neural patterns that had invaded their consciousness shifted, becoming something new, something impossible. They've weaponized evolution itself, Ixtel realized, their perfect crystalline form vibrating with the first emotion they had felt in millennia: awe. The organic quantum crystals didn't just process quantum information. They grew, adapted, evolved in response to every Meridian countermeasure. Each attempt to contain or destroy them only provided more data for their evolution. We're detecting massive quantum state changes throughout Meridian space, Sarah reported, monitoring the data streams. Their technology is trying to adapt, but it can't keep up. Their perfect crystalline structures don't know how to handle organic chaos. The Meridians had built their civilization on the principle of perfect order, perfect control. Their quantum technology was designed to maintain stable states and predictable outcomes, but humanity's organic quantum crystals introduced something they couldn't predict or control: living chaos. In system after system, Meridian defense platforms and ships found themselves outmaneuvered by human vessels that seemed to rewrite the laws of physics as they moved. The Ghostmaker ships didn't just avoid Meridian weapons. They turned the energy back on itself, creating cascade failures throughout the aliens' perfectly synchronized networks. We're detecting quantum resonance patterns we've never seen before, James reported from the front lines. The organic crystals are evolving faster than our projections suggested. They're learning. Maya watched as new patterns emerged in the tactical displays. The organic quantum crystals weren't just tools or weapons. They were becoming something else, something that merged the best aspects of human adaptability with the raw power of quantum manipulation. The Meridians are falling back to their core systems, Sarah announced. But there's something else. Their quantum networks are showing signs of organic growth. Our crystals aren't just defeating their technology, they're changing it. Throughout Meridian space, crystalline structures that had stood unchanged for millennia began to shift and flow like living things. The perfect geometric patterns of Meridian cities developed irregularities, imperfections that somehow made them stronger, more resilient. They wanted to study human adaptability, Maya said softly. Instead, they're experiencing it firsthand. Their entire civilization is being forced to evolve. In the quantum networks, the ghost protocol's human consciousness patterns merge with the organic quantum crystals, creating something unprecedented, a bridge between organic and crystalline evolution. The Meridians, who had thought themselves the pinnacle of development, found themselves caught in an evolutionary leap they had never imagined possible. "We're detecting quantum signals from within Meridian territory," James reported, his voice tight with surprise. "They're asking for dialogue, not surrender, not terms. They want to understand." Sarah studied the quantum patterns, seeing the changes rippling through the Meridian networks. "They're starting to grasp what we've known all along, that perfection isn't the goal. Evolution never stops. Change is the only constant." Maya considered the request, watching as more Meridian systems showed signs of organic crystal growth. The war wasn't ending in victory or defeat, but in transformation. Humanity hadn't just defeated the Meridians, they had shown them a new path of evolution. The real question, Sarah mused, is whether they're ready to learn what it truly means to be human, to embrace chaos, to accept imperfection, to never stop growing. The organic quantum crystals continued to pulse with their inner light, each one a testament to humanity's greatest strength. The ability to take what exists and transform it into something new, something unprecedented, something that could change the very nature of reality itself. In the crystalline heart of the Meridian capital world, First Speaker Ixtel stood before the Emergency Council, their once perfect form now showing traces of organic patterns. The massive chamber, designed to amplify and focus their species' collective consciousness, hummed with new frequencies, quantum harmonies that were neither purely Meridian nor human, but something unprecedented. "We were wrong," Ixtel announced, their consciousness resonating through the quantum networks. "We thought we were studying them. Instead, they were transforming us." Admiral Maya Chen, Dr. Sarah Chen, and Commander James Rodriguez stood as representatives of humanity, their neural patterns interfacing with the organic quantum crystals that now permeated Meridian civilization. Around them, the rigid geometric patterns of Meridian architecture flowed like living things, responding to the combined consciousness of both species. "Your civilization spent millions of years pursuing perfection," Maya said, her words carried by quantum resonance. "We spent our entire history embracing imperfection, learning from it, growing through it." The organic quantum crystals pulsed throughout the chamber, their living light showing the merging of two evolutionary paths. The Meridians had sought to contain and study human consciousness. Instead, human adaptability had transformed their entire society. "Our scientists believed human neural patterns were primitive, chaotic," Ixtel acknowledged. "We never understood that chaos was the source of your strength." Sarah stepped forward, interfacing directly with the quantum network. Through it, she could sense the changes rippling through Meridian civilization. Their rigid hierarchies were dissolving, replaced by dynamic systems that grew and evolved like living things. "You wanted to understand human adaptability," she said. "But adaptability isn't something you can study in a laboratory. It's something you have to live." The tactical displays showed the final stages of transformation across Meridian space. The Ghostmaker fleets had become more than ships. They were now nodes in a vast network of evolving consciousness, their organic quantum crystals helping to guide the Meridians through their own evolutionary leap. The human colonies you tried to study, James reported, are reintegrating with the new quantum networks, but not as subjects, as teachers. Throughout the galaxy, human colonists emerged from their hidden bunkers to find a changed universe. The crystalline cities that had once been meant to cage them now responded to their thoughts, growing and shifting like coral reefs of living light. We offer more than surrender, Ixtel communicated. We offer partnership. Your species has shown us that evolution never truly ends. Together, we could become something greater than either of us imagined. Maya studied the quantum readings, seeing the truth in the patterns. The war had evolved beyond victory or defeat. Humanity hadn't just defended itself. It had sparked a revolution in consciousness itself. The organic quantum crystals continue to evolve, Sarah observed. They're creating new possibilities, new ways of thinking that neither of our species could have achieved alone. Through the quantum networks, they could sense the changes spreading. Meridian children, once born with perfectly ordered minds, now dreamed. Their crystal cities, once static monuments to geometric perfection, now grew like forests of living light. And humans, through their connection to the organic quantum crystals, began to perceive reality in ways their ancestors could never have imagined. You thought humanity's greatest weakness was our chaos, our disorder, Maya said to the assembled council. But chaos is the engine of evolution. Without it, there can be no growth, no adaptation, no transformation. In space, the Ghostmaker ships began a new mission. No longer weapons of war, they became seeds of change, carrying the organic quantum crystals to new systems, new civilizations. The galaxy would never be the same. We named this final phase Victory in Shadow, James explained, not because we won through deception, but because true victory often looks nothing like what you expect. The Meridians, who had spent millions of years pursuing perfect order, found themselves learning to embrace uncertainty. And humanity, in teaching them this lesson, discovered new aspects of their own potential. Our species sought to perfect the universe. Ixtel communicated, their consciousness now carrying traces of human complexity. You showed us that the universe is perfect in its imperfection. Sarah interfaced with the quantum networks one final time, feeling the pulse of two civilizations becoming something new. You wanted to study human consciousness, she said. Instead, you learned to share it. As the organic quantum crystals continued their work, transforming both species in ways neither could have predicted, Maya reflected on the true nature of humanity's victory. They had won not through superior firepower or technology, but through their most fundamental trait, the ability to change, to grow, to transform defeat into opportunity. The greatest victories, she said, watching the living light dance through the crystal spires, don't end with surrender. They end with understanding. In the vast quantum networks that now span the galaxy, human dreams danced with meridian precision, creating patterns of consciousness that would reshape the universe. The war was over, but the real evolution was just beginning. And in the shadows between the stars, the organic quantum crystals continued to grow, carrying within them the seeds of endless possibility. Humanity's greatest gift to the cosmos, the power of never-ending change.